Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your Week 13 edition of the 2021 season of the BSB. I'm Sean Cobb,
I'm Tony James.
and we're your betting strategy brothers. For those of you that are new or those of you that are not new, you need a reminder. Um, we do not guarantee anything we predict. We are teachers by trade, and we're here to teach and help you as much as we can. You can take our picks. You can say our picks are trash, whatever you think. But that's what we're here to do. So we do not guarantee out anything. I wish we could, but we can't. So hopefully you pick up some good stuff.
Yeah, if we could guarantee our picks, we'd probably be in a better. We'd probably be living the high life on some beach somewhere. But that's part of the fun
Someday.
too, right? Is that sometimes, if you've noticed, some of the picks that we take, they're low risk, high reward, because is it possible something? Is it possible that Detroit can finally win a game? Well, it's possible. um, so you
Not
know.
possible.
But we'll do things like 6 or 7 team parlays just for fun, just because they're a small investment, but on the hope that if it comes through, now we're like we have a little bit more to our bankroll, right? And then so we can go and take that and either flow it into next week, or we could just keep rolling it that week. But doing something crazy like that and getting a big payday once in a while, or trying for a big payday once in a while, super cool and super fun.
Agreed. And once again, and we've said this many times, and it's still true. We love hearing from you guys. We love talking to you guys. A lot of people text me about picks and what we think, and what we said and everything like that. And you guys really should. We don't always get a chance to put out every pick, and the show is we try to do the show within an hour, so we don't get every pick on the show. We do a lot more betting than what is on here. So if you guys ever want more insight, we do try to put it out on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, but that doesn't always happen. So guys at home, just this is not all we do. This is what we do for the show. And if you ever want more insights or more things, feel free to reach out in any way, Twitter, text, email, whatever. So
and for sure, and it's always evolving, right, Kaus? Because if usually we record on a Friday night, today it's a Saturday, but usually we record on Friday night, and a lot can happen on Saturday that affects your action on Sunday. So, we might say something like, hey, I'm going to take the over in the Philadelphia game, and then we find out there's a snowstorm that comes in on Saturday night, and then it's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to take that over now. So,
correct. Well, yeah, and also too, like. I think between the both of us, we definitely have action on pretty much every single game every weekend. We just don't have time to do that on the show. So
for sure.
And a lot changes, and I mean, heck, we do live bets even. So
those are so much fun. So much fun.
Well, and I like live bets because, and we can't do them on the show, obviously, because we don't do the show, live during games, but there actually are some games going on right now. But it's easy to get an idea of where the game is going and what the flow is going, especially something like the Chargers Cincy game this week, where it could go either way. Once you have an idea and a feel for how it's going, live bet is a way to go. Okay, now I really see how Burrow's doing against that defense, or how Herbert's doing against that defense, and how Mixon's running or whatever, and then you can bet live. So we do a lot of that too. So like I said, feel free to hit us up and see where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. It's much more fun, and with the in plays too. That you're exactly right. We get a feel for the game, and then we can look at it and go, "Well, maybe that game is going to go over. They've scored 14 points in 5 minutes." And you can get some adjusted action. Now, it's all not, for example, you're over if you bet it in a game and it was 49, and then all this scoring happens. Now Vegas isn't dumb. They're going to bump that up to 55, 60, and then go, now you try your luck. But yeah, the in plays I have a lot of fun with too.
Vegas isn't pretty because they lose money. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's go with our flavor of the week, and we are recording on Saturday morning, so it's a little bit early for me. But what I am going to hit later on when that clock hits 12 is Golden Road's Point the Way IPA. I had a couple last night at the hockey game. They're delicious. They're very crisp, very refreshing. It looks like right now outside it's going to be a nice dark day, and this will lighten my mood a little bit. So I'm going to have a couple of those and watch the late games. What do you got
You,
going today?
you know, living in the Valley of the Sun, I'm almost the other way. Like I'm happier on dark days. You know, the old "I'm only happy when it rains." It's kind of,
Yep.
when it's something different out here, it's great. Um, I don't think it's too early. There are two games going on already in college football, so it's definitely not too early. Um, but I am going to start with a little morning drink of, it's still the morning. It is 10:30 my time, so it's double digits, but it's still morning, and I'm going to throw some orange juice in there to get my morning drink in there. But I'm going to throw a little amaretto and whiskey in there and mix that all together and have a delicious, sweet little drink to start the day off and have a good day of watching college football, and hopefully watch Michigan lose and Bama lose and have to have the committee make some choices that they don't want to make. So,
We
um,
love we love booze and we love chaos.
correct.
I love
So,
it.
all right, so let's see what we did last week. I'll start.
Okay.
I actually won a bet last week.
Yes.
That's been a couple weeks coming, but I went on my Cincy bet. I put 20 down to win 11. Houston should have won, did not. That hurt. Somebody told me, parlay is French for one game away, and
Hmm.
that happened to me last week. I was one game away. I had both unders in two games of the Atlanta and the Jets, but Minnesota, they laid an egg. I don't get it, and I'm actually going to talk about them today. So I lost 20 on that. And then Tennessee laid an egg against New England. New England. New England's good, but Tennessee laid an egg. That combo didn't go well, so I lost 20 there. Jets I had going over 1.5 turnovers. They only had one, so I lost 40 on that. I thought for sure Zach Wilson would come back, and he was rusty, but he
Hmm.
wasn't rusty enough to throw two picks, and nobody fumbled. So um, Cousins actually did throw an interception, which I'm going to talk about later. So I lost that prop bet. Excuse me. Even though but I did have that paired with Trevor Lawrence having not having under 1.5 touchdowns, having 0-1, and he only had one. So I did win
Hmm.
that part, but I parlayed those two prop bets together, so I lost that 20. And then I took Tennessee on the pleaser. Once again, they got smoked. So I put out 170, only got 31 back, so I'm down 139. It's not good to be down, but we're up for the season, and so I'm all right. But hey, I won one. I'm trending now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's all about you, and you're in a position right now where you had some bankroll built up. So if you lose a little bit over these past couple weeks, it doesn't hurt you that much. Whereas if you are already in the red and you go deeper into the red chasing something, that's a bad situation. You definitely don't want to be there. So this is a week that I see you coming back and making a big addition to your bankroll here.
Let's hope. Let's hope. How'd you do last week?
Yeah, I did better. I lost both my straight picks with Penn State going over. Like that game was under for so long, and that's the hard thing about betting overs and unders is like under you're winning until you lose, right? And then over you're losing until you win. But I know that sounds like, oh well, of course you are, but when the game starts 0-0, you're covering the under, and then you're just hoping that teams don't score, and that game just didn't work out.
Which
Um,
that's what you get for going against your normal trend too.
that is true. That is true. You're 100% right. I took Tennessee as well, lost that. I hit my parlay with Tampa Bay and Cincinnati, so I got 30 back on that. I lost my teaser with once again betting the under and it going over with Oklahoma State, but I did hit my NFL teaser, so that was cool. Um, Jamar Chase did not get a touchdown. Mac Jones ran like OJ Simpson through an airport, so I lost that parlay on the props, and then I lost my pleaser because Minnesota decided they didn't want to win. So I bet 134. I got 116 back. I'm down 18 for this week, so not bad, man. I'm another week where I don't have to go to the ATM.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I am. I started with 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
got down to 1061. Excuse me, 1061. So I'm going to have that plus the weekly 100. You started with 1106. You're only down to 1088 plus the weekly 100. So
right on.
we're still doing all right for the week.
Yeah,
Or for overall, I mean, we're doing all right.
Well, yeah, exactly. So let's get week 13 started and see if we can make some money this week.
All right, let's start as normal on our straight picks.
Cool.
I'm going back to Minnesota. Minnesota is going to win, and I'm going to take the points. Detroit is not going to win their first game. It's not going to happen. Look, in both these teams, you got the running backs out. You got Cook out. You got Swift out. It's going to be a passing game. And are you going to take Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins? I'm going to take Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you why. Kirk Cousins this year is not getting talked about enough. And I said it last week, and I'm doubling down on Kirk Cousins now. Well, it's freaking Kirk Cousins. Yeah, it is Kirk Cousins. He's got over 3,000 yards passing with 23 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Okay, I understand winning games counts a lot. I'm not arguing that. But when you talk about quarterbacks who were MVPs in the MVP race, everybody's high on. You look at Kyler Murray. Yeah, he was injured for a month, so I'm not going to talk about yards, but he's already got 7 interceptions. Already got 7. Kirk Cousins has 3. When you talk about TB12, TB12 does have 400 more yards passing, but he's on pace for almost his worst year as far as the interceptions are concerned. He's got 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Kirk Cousins 23-3. Josh Allen, my boy, he's over 3,000 yards, but he's got 25 TDs with 10 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Kirk Cousins only has 3. The reigning MVP, Rodgers, has less than 3,000 yards. He did miss a week. Less than 3,000 yards, 23 TDs, same as Kirk Cousins with 1 more interception. The reigning MVP. Kirk Cousins does not get talked about enough because they're not winning games, and it's not all his fault. So I'm taking them on, once again, they're both missing their star running back. So I'm going passing game. I'm taking them with the points minus 7.5, 20 to win, $18. I'm also calling an upset. Every year I have a big upset in mind, and I'm calling a big one this week. I'm saying the Broncos beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. My $30 is going to win me $100. KC is not blowing anybody out. They're not getting crazy. They are jumping ahead. They're jumping out, and then they're holding that lead. And if they do that against Denver's defense, if they try to do that, Denver's defense ain't going to allow it. And as long as Teddy Bridgewater is Teddy Bridgewater, the good one and not the bad one, then Denver wins that game all day long. KC is 1-5 against the spread at home this year. 1-5 against the spread at home this year, and those spreads have not been big. So they're not blowing people out. Denver can stay within them. Even though Kansas City has won 11 straight against Denver, they're 9-2 against the spread against Denver. I think Denver does not let them jump out to a lead, and then Denver takes over in the end. To me, this is really a game of defenses, and Denver's defense is way better than Kansas City, which is hard to believe after you get rid of Von Miller. Like,
That's
okay,
true.
You get rid of Von Miller, your defense goes, no, their defense. I don't think Von Miller was a cancer. I don't think he was a problem in the defense, but they just figured out how to be without him, and they've done it well. So I'm going with my upset of the week is Denver. I'm taking $30 to win $100.
I love the strategy there. This is primed to be a letdown game for Kansas City. I don't think any of us are. I think we're surprised at the way that Kansas City has played. Like if we go back to the beginning of the season and look at what's been happening, if you looked at Kansas City and go, hey, they're going to be in first place in the division in week 13, I don't think anybody would have been surprised. I think what they would be surprised about is how just inconsistent and crappy they've been playing. And so now they have a little bit of a winning streak, but this does prime for a letdown game. They do host the Raiders next week. So it could be a letdown. Denver is falling out of the playoff picture rather quickly. And like you said, they just traded their best defensive player, but they seem to be getting better on defense, which you would seem to think it would go the other way around. But I really like that. I really like that, especially at over 3-1 on your money there.
Yeah, the plus money on the money line is insane. Even without it, that's what I was trying to look at right now. Even without it, with the points, it was still plus money. But
Mhm.
I just there's no way they can.
I don't think anybody would be surprised if Denver wins. I really don't. And that would just be adding to more confusion in the AFC West if other things, if depending on how Vegas does and depending on how the Chargers do, that would be fantastic for me. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I that would help out your Raiders a lot. That's for sure.
It would. That's a good segue to my straight picks this week because I did win homer pick and I took the Raiders over Washington this week. I love the matchup of the Raiders' second ranked passing offense against the Washington's 30th ranked passing defense. And I will take that opportunity all day. I know that Waller is out. Probably is not going to play. Foster Moreau definitely not as good as Waller. Not the deep threat that Waller is. But what you'll find is that when instead of trying to have Moreau be Waller, they'll incorporate Moreau and a lot more to Renfro in the games that Waller doesn't play. So I know in my fantasy league, I got Renfro going this week because I think he's going to have a big week. He's that clutch. He's maybe not he's like how do I say it? Maybe a poor man's Edelman, I could say. So I really like Vegas this week. They have a lot to play for.
One way to say it. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
But Vegas has a lot to play for. I mean, not saying that Washington doesn't. Washington's got a lot of travel. But I don't think their offense is going to be there. I'll say this: the way that Washington has to win this game is by keeping the Vegas offense off the field. They need long running drives, and if they can't do that, Vegas is going to win this game. I also go to for my second straight pick. We're going to Monday night. I had to look at this game for you, brother, and I went with the over 41. And I know you told me that there is going to be it should snow on Monday night, which will be even more awesome. But I really like what Buffalo's doing right now. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this game is like 21-20 or 22. Well, 21-20 would be 41. So let's make it 22-21. This is going to be a very close game. You got the two best teams in the division. I can't wait to watch it. I think it goes over by a hair. I really do. I think it's a 42 or 43 total on this one. So I've got 33 on the Raiders to win 26, 22 on the over to win 20 on Monday night.
So I'm rooting for the Raiders. I really am. I enjoy the Raiders. I think they're a good team. But my only worry is I have two worries on this game. It's Carr in the cold, and it's Carr versus Del Rio. Del Rio's got a chip on his shoulder by getting canned for Gruden, and then Chucky's not even there anymore, and now Del Rio's going to go, ha, 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 I know what Carr does, and screw you Raiders. Now, the good thing is I'm sure Carr picked up some new stuff from Chucky, and you're seeing that's why Carr is doing so well this year. So I like Carr. I like the Raiders. But it just scares me when you're facing your former head coach as a defensive coordinator, knows all your tricks. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, like I said, Carr's learned some new stuff, but knows your tendencies, knows what you like, knows what you don't like. It does that. So that scares me a little bit. I do think Vegas wins, but you're braver than me to bet on them. Mm-hmm. The over in Buffalo, New England.
You're going to tell me it's going to be a classic 9-6 AFC East game,
The problem is New England's been pounding the ball, and that's how they've been winning these games, and that's why they're number one in the division right now by half game, because they're pounding the ball, they're running the ball. When you run the ball, you don't score a lot. Now, Buffalo hopefully is looking at the fact that when they run the ball more than 20 times a game, they win. When they run the ball less than that, they lose. Mm-hmm. That's been their trend all year. So if they look at that and go, I don't care. And by the way, when they run more than 20 times, it's against teams they should be beating. So when they've gone against your Tennessees, your Indies, they try to pass the ball to try to win the game, and they don't run the ball. So I'm fearful that they're going to do the same thing against New England, put it all in Josh Allen's hand and give him no help on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, now you're looking at turnovers and then New England running the ball, and that's going to make for a slow game with not a lot of points. And so that's why I worry about the over. Plus, the weather is going to be a factor. It'll be the coldest game Mac Jones ever played in. So I hope you're right, because if it's over, I guarantee that Buffalo wins that game if it goes over. In a slugfest, Buffalo wins that game.
I do too.
I hope you're right. Once again, that's another one I don't have on my picks because I'm afraid. Of course, I'm going to bet that game. Of course, I'm going to do something. Right now, I don't have the balls to pull the trigger on anything. So you're braver than me.
Well, maybe just stupider, but it's one of the two, right? One of the two.
You've surpassed me with the yearly winnings so far. So I don't know if you're dumber than I am.
Well, let's see how your parlays are this week. I think you got one, right?
I got one parlay. I'm going money line plus an under. So I'm taking the Rams on the money line. I'm taking the under in the Philly Jets. I'm taking the Niners, and I'm taking the Bucks. The Rams need a get right game, and this is the get right game for them. This is unfamiliar territory. This is only the second time in McVay's career where he's had a 3-game losing streak. So it's unfamiliar territory for him. Like, he's not used to it. He's gonna get right. Now, I was gonna take the Rams on with the points. The problem is they're giving up 13 right now, and it could increase, it could decrease. But I imagine it will do anything but increase. But this year, Jacksonville's 2-0 against the spread as a double-digit dog, and 3-1 against the spread when they've been getting at least 7. So they're good at keeping it close. I don't think they're going to win. I think that the Rams are probably going to run away with this game and destroy those stats, but because it's going to be a get-right game for them. But the way they've been playing, it's hard to make that change. They're going to win. It's just the way they've been going. It's hard to take those points. So I'm going to go ahead and take them on the money line. Philly at New York Jets. It's going to be cold. Might snow there too. You got possibly the stash making an appearance. I can't wait. I hope he does.
That'd be awesome.
I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a Hurts fan, but man, to see Gardner Minshew out there again, that would be fun. But when you got Minshew going, you got Wilson still getting his legs under him. Yeah, he won last week, but it wasn't a dominant performance. The Jets are 2-8 against the spread. There's only been 2 teams this year that have never been a favorite, and it's been the Jets and the Lions. And with that, the Jets and the Lions are the only 2 teams that haven't been a favorite yet this year, which rightfully so. But with that, the Jets are 2-8 against the spread, and that's worst in the league. They're worse than Detroit. So that tells you one thing: they're not scoring a lot of points, and they're not going to score a lot of points. Philly, especially if the stash plays, are not going to get a lot of points. So I'm going to take the under in that. San Francisco, Seattle looks terrible, and part of that too is Wilson. With his finger, he's still getting it. The only worry I have in this game is there's no Deebo Samuel, and Deebo's been a big part of that offense. But Jimmy G's looked great. He's 9-0 outright, 6-3 against the spread as on the road thus far, and 3-1 this season on the road. So he's we talked about game managing a lot, and I think he's figuring that out more than anybody else is. He doesn't have to be a Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady throwing all over the place. He just got to manage the game, and he figured out that out a long time ago, and he's doing well for him. So I think San Francisco runs away with that game. I think they would be a bigger spread if Deebo was playing, and I think they would win by a lot more if Deebo was playing. Without him, I still think they win, just not – it might be a little closer than wanted. And then I'm going to take Tampa Bay against Atlanta. Tampa Bay is just they're like I said, TB12 is having his worst game of the year, worst year of his career as far as interceptions and stuff are concerned. But Matty Ice looks like he shouldn't even be in the league right now. Which it's hard to say. I've always been a fan of his. I thought he's been a good quarterback,
Mhm.
but in the last 3 games, he's had the worst QB rating in the league. He's got 5 interceptions. He got sacked 4 times last week. And then you got Tampa Bay, who's got 10 sacks and 4 interceptions the past 3 games. They're going to be all over him. He's not going to have a shot. Part of the problem with him, too, is he has nobody to go to but Kyle Pitt. That's all he's got. He doesn't have anybody to go to. So, that it's not all his fault, but he looks like trash, and Atlanta looks like trash, and Tampa Bay is going to roll him just like they did earlier this year. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm hammering Atlanta. It's just they don't have the personnel. They need to get it. They got a new coach. He's trying to hold his own. He was Tennessee's OC, and he had the personnel there to be good. He doesn't have it in Atlanta, so that's going against him right now. So my 20 is going to win me 63.
No, those are all good reasons. I love your strategy on the Rams as well. The Rams are a team that's kind of fading a little bit. They went all in, and they've lost 3 in a row. We don't know if it's a chemistry issue or Matt Stafford being Matt Stafford. But I like your strategy there of taking them on the money line versus taking the minus 13.
And I want to talk about that real quick. OBJ, he might not play, and that might be the best thing for him because I think he's a cancer. And like you said, the chemistry, if he can't play, that totally changes everything. So I think that's a good thing. Sorry.
I agree with you about Beckham. I think he's all me. And there's no look, if the Rams, I would say this, if the Rams don't advance and he's and he could be a part of the reason why they don't advance, because I'm not trying to say that I'm in with the Rams and any insider or anything, but you just look at Beckham's history, right? He wears out his welcome very, very quickly.
That's why he had one big catch in his career, and that what has he done?
I completely agree with you. I thought that was his one shining moment, right? And then he's gets a big contract, and then he's traded, and then he's let go, and it's something's got to give here. I like the Philadelphia under as well. I really do. I think the Jets win that game, but I think it definitely goes under. The Jets defense has been really, really good lately. So yeah, I like that parlay, man. I like it a lot.
Especially if the mustache plays, they win.
Oh, by 1,000%.
It'll be fun to watch. All right, what do you got on your parlay?
2 unders, baby. 2 unders. I got
going against your trend. I thought you learned after last week.
I thought I did too, but I think we might have good reasons here. Seattle, San Francisco under for many of the same reasons you mentioned about San Francisco without Samuel, and Seattle just, man, something's wrong with Seattle. I don't trust them at all to score anything. And it's interesting because 4 of the, I believe it's 4 the in the last 6 matchups, the over is 4-1-1, but you haven't had a struggling Russell Wilson. That offense, there's an issue there, right? And there's Seattle is one of those teams that's on the downswing. I mean, they don't have their first round pick this year. It's the Jets pick. And so, and right now it's a top 5 pick. So they're not getting any improvement very quickly there. I like that game to go under 45.5, and I like Baltimore Pittsburgh to go under 44. I don't know, man. I think Baltimore is just the smoke and mirrors team this year. Their defense is pretty good, but their offense is god awful. And they were lucky last week to have Lamar throw 4 picks and then win a game.
It out.
Yeah. I would give a lot of props to the defense there. But that offense is crap. I'm not impressed with it at all. And it could be because it's been running back by committee the entire year. But none of their receivers scare me at all. If I'm Pittsburgh, I dare them to throw the ball on me. I just dare them to throw it because I don't think they'll be successful. And then you go to the other side, and I just see Pittsburgh just trying to run the ball. I mean, did you see?
You have Najee Harris. Why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. Did you see some of those passes that Roethlisberger is throwing? He's got the Peyton Manning noodle arm now. And look, nothing against Roethlisberger, he's been a good quarterback. He's been at it for a long time, but he's probably done.
Yeah.
And if he can't get any zip on the ball, then why are you even going to bother throwing it? The last game they played against each other was that weird game last year. There was like a Wednesday game or something, like some goofy because of COVID or whatever. And that was 19-14. Before that, the previous 3 had gone over, and the 2 before that had gone under. So this kind of oscillates over, under. I like this one to go under, though. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think Baltimore wins again because of their defense. But that's a game that I see them winning like 17-7.
Yeah, I agree. Baltimore's is 5-1-1 against the spread in Pittsburgh, but I don't think that happens again this week. Lamar does not do well against divisional opponents. He just doesn't. And I think you're right. If Pittsburgh can, and Pittsburgh's smart enough to go stop the run, stop Baltimore from running, make Lamar beat us in the air, and it's not going to happen. So when that happens, you're going to have for a longer game, which is less points. And I agree. Same thing with San Fran. Like I said already, you got Jimmy G controlling the game. So that leads to them scoring less points. You look at them, they don't score a lot of points usually. And then you're right. Seattle is they're a train wreck right now. They need to get right. Now, I'm not a Carroll fan, but I wouldn't blame it all on him.
No.
I'm not a fan of his, but it's not, you got to hurt Russell Wilson. You guys personnel, like you said, you didn't make good choices on who you got where. You got 2 great receivers. You got a great quarterback, but that's it. Like you're thin. So you need to do stuff. So I agree. I like that. I don't like when you bet against your favorite thing. You like betting for points, and I don't like doing that, but they're not bad picks. I can't argue that.
No, I agree. I love points. I love watching teams score, and I'm sure I'm going to bet an over later on today. But
sorry, go ahead.
No, you look at the extenuating circumstances of each team, right? And it's just hard. It's hard for me to justify this week betting over on either one of those games.
Well, and I forgot what I was watching or who I was listening to or whatever. Somebody was talking about, trends in the NFL. It goes from defense, it goes to the running quarterback, it goes to pat. Right now, the trend in the NFL is you got to run to win the game. We've talked about it in here a lot, especially me with Buffalo. You got to run to win the game. It's a lot of running right now, and a lot of teams are going back to the running, the grounded pound, and that leads to lower scores. I mean, there are low over under. One of the over unders this week is 39. So it's like there are low unders. Vegas is seeing this. Everybody is seeing this. The running the ball is going to lead to lower score.
Well, and what I've noticed too is I have a friend in Nevada who bets. He's able to bet the total points for the entire slate of games every week.
Nice.
And that's gone under 5 weeks in a row, and not close, like by a lot. So you're exactly right. Teams are slowing it down a little bit, and it shows in the point totals. So but just like you said, like Vegas doesn't look the way it does because they lose money, right? They're adjusting, right? One of the over-unders this week you said is 39. Where was that at the beginning of the season? So
correct.
Everything adjusts and it evolves over time, which is super fun about this business.
Agreed. All right, let's get into our teasers.
Let's do it.
The teaser, you get to add 6 points to yourself. It lowers your odds, but it makes it easier for you to win. But sometimes it makes it a little too sexy, and you take too many things, and then you don't hit, which is usually my problem. But this week, the one I'm doing for the show, I'm taking a 6-team teaser. I am taking the Bears, but I'm taking them at plus 13. I'm taking the Bucks -5. I'm taking Houston. I'm getting back on the Houston train plus 16. Miami's a pick. Miami's -6, so tease them up to take them as a pick. Pittsburgh plus 10.5 and Buffalo plus 3.5. I'm putting my Bills in there. Look, Chicago, it's in Chicago, so it's cold. Now you got Kyler Murray, who they have not officially said he is starting, but he's probably going to start. So you got him coming back off an injury in cold weather. I lived in Buffalo for 20 years of my life. When you're injured, I don't care if you're coming back from an injury and you're healed or whatever, that cold, it makes that injury 100 times worse. It does not. Even if you feel like you're 100%, you're going to get out there and you're going to see you're not. And even if not, you're looking at Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, all these quarterbacks that have come back and had had a rusty week coming back. I think that's going to happen to Kyler Murray. I think it's going to be rusty. Now, I still think Arizona wins the game. I don't think they win it by 2 touchdowns. They have been blowing teams out on the road. They're undefeated on the road. I don't think that's going to change. I think they're going to win. And the over is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings between these two teams. But that's all with the healthy, everybody been playing a few weeks. It's been a month since Murray played, a month. I don't care, and I'm sure he's not sitting on a couch eating chips watching TV. But there's something to be said about game time. Look at the first week, second week, third week of the year. They're always talking about, everybody's finally getting back into game health, game conditioning. He's not played for a month. He's not in that game conditioning again. He's got to get it back. I think he will, and they're still going to be good, and I think they're still going to win. I just don't think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. So that's why I teased Chicago up and took them at plus 13.5. Tampa Bay, I already talked about. -5 is easy. Last time they won by like 17 points, something like that. So 5, if I can tease them down and take a -5, I'll take that. Houston. Tyrod Taylor's 9-2 against the spread, 8-3-1 against the spread when getting 6 or more points. I think he can. I think he can keep it within that this week. Over 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Look, Indy's good, and I'm not taking anything away from Indy, but I really do think that Houston can keep it close. Houston is a different team with Tyrod. I understand they only have 2 wins, but they're still a different team with Tyrod, and I think they can keep it close. Once again, I don't think they win, but I think they keep it within 1, maybe 10 points. So plus 16, I'll take that. Miami, a pick 'em. I think Miami's going to crush them. Miami's defense is finally being the Miami's defense that I came out this year at the beginning of the year saying I'm afraid of Miami. Their defense is fantastic, and I'm afraid of them. And lo and behold, they're starting to get there. You're playing the Giants, who Mike Glennon is all I want to say. Mike Glennon. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say is Mike Glennon. So I'm going to take Miami on the pick there. Pittsburgh. Look, we were just talking about that. If I can get Pittsburgh plus 10.5, I'll take that easily. Even if Baltimore wins, they're not going to win by that much. So I'll take that easily. And then Buffalo, like we've talked about already, this is going to be a close dang game, and it might be a field goal. So if I can get Buffalo just over that field goal at 3.5, I'm going to take that all day long. So my 20 is going to win me 120.
Yeah, solid teaser right there. I really agree with your Pittsburgh pick, especially if it's a low-scoring game. That 10.5 points means a lot more. I agree with your strategy on the Chicago game as well. You'll see in a minute that I went the other way on a couple of these, but they're not like I agree with you. I think Arizona wins the game. I don't think they win by 13.5 though. I agree that Kyler's going to be rusty. Plus Hopkins is we still know about Hopkins either. So
yeah, the last time he played, he played like one play, got hurt, and then he went out for a distraction on another play, and that was all it was. So
yeah, and so we don't know who's coming out for Arizona. Like we think Murray's going to play, but he might not. So too many question marks there too. I'll take and same with Chicago and like. Is it going to be the Red Rifle or is it going to be Fields? Well, I don't know. I'll take my chances and take the 13.5 if it comes down to, Colt McCoy and the Red Rifle, that.
Well, the Red Rifle looked good last week.
Yeah, he did. He looked really good. So, those are all solid. I like that a lot. I think that's the one that gets you back in the W column this week for sure.
Let's hope so. What are you teasing this week?
I went the other way. I took Arizona -1.5. I think they win this game. I don't think they win by 7.5. I think they win by 4. And so that way we both win. I took the Jets plus 13 against the Eagles. Indianapolis, so another game that I went the other way. I think they win this game. I don't think they win by 10. I think they win by 7. So I put them on the teaser to bring that down to -4 for me. I took the Chargers on the road at Cincinnati plus 9 and Detroit plus 13.5. And I'm not sure why I keep riding the Detroit train, because they seem to be horror awful, and they can't win games. But darn it, if you did games, if you had a standings list of against the spread, Detroit is right at the top. They are 7-4 against the spread this year.
Yeah.
And that's
in Minnesota's got to be like 2 or 3 right there too. Those two teams are always in every game.
And yes, and it's incredible that Detroit has not been able to get over the hump. I thought last week was the week, but that didn't come through. So, but you're right. Minnesota is involved in a lot of close games, and I think this is another close game. So I've got those 5. The Chargers and the Bengals is going to be a very interesting game. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think
number 1 versus number 6.
I think it's and it's basically I think it's an elimination game for the Chargers. I think if they don't win this game, that they have a long road ahead to try and make the postseason. So, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think you have two teams that are very similar. And I see if I can boost my +3 to a +9 on the road, even with a little bit of travel there, I still like my chances there. So hopefully those 5 come through for me this week.
Yeah, I agree. 30 to win 126 is nothing to bark at either. But look, with that Chargers game, the difference is I don't think, it's what was the Arizona's quarterback they took in the first round and they got rid of? What was his name again? I can't even remember. Oh, Rosen. Josh Rosen. He had a chip on his shoulder on where he got picked. I don't think Herbert got a chip on his shoulder because Burrow got picked ahead of him. Herbert didn't win the Heisman, Burrow did, so he expected him to get picked ahead of him. So I don't think there's that chip on the shoulder, but there's still a chip on anybody's shoulder. I don't care who you are. Hey, you got picked first. I got picked 6th. I'm going to go get you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Burrow's looking to say, hey, I was number 1 for a reason. So, but they've never met. They've never faced those defenses. So it's going to be an interesting game, and I can't wait to watch it. Now, one other thing on these strategies, like Indy, you took Indy, I took Houston. Arizona, Chicago, I took Chicago, you took Arizona. We could both win on those. It's both possible that we both win on those. My strategy for doing this, I will, if I think we both agree Arizona's not going to win by 13. We both agree that Indy's not going to win by 16. In my case, I will take plus points over minus points any day of the week. So that's why I always go that route where you are more willing to take that and say, okay, I'll take the minus points and say they're going to win, which to me, it's me taking the plus points is my strategy of kind of covering my butt of going, I think they're going to lose and I think they're going to get killed, but this hopefully will keep it together. Mm-hmm. Yours is more, and that's why yours is kind of less money because you're taking Arizona's going to pound them and they're going to win this game. I'm taking Arizona. Indy's going to pound them and win this game. I'm taking Indy. Mm-hmm. But your money goes less, whereas my money goes more, and neither one of us is right or wrong in that aspect. I like your strategy of it. I trying to get a little bit more money. That's why I went the way I did.
Yeah, yours guarantee you taking the plus 16 is like, we'll look at it this way. It's like the only way you lose is if Indianapolis just blows them just right out of the stadium.
Correct.
And the likelihood of that happening is probably not that great, and on the other side, I've got Indianapolis -4, so they have to they have to win, but they also have a little bit more of a spread to cover there to win, right? They have to win by 5. Yeah. Otherwise it's a push. So
in both years, basically you're taking big favorites with Arizona and Indy and minus, and it really does. If they lose, they lose. Like the -4, the -1.5 at that point, it really doesn't matter. They're going to lose the game. Like it's you're taking the safer route and going, they're going to blow. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. They're going to win, and they're going to win by a touchdown. So I'm going to take that, which isn't it's a good strategy. I'm just trying to get a little bit more money for my money.
For sure. And I like it. I like it a lot.
So
and
both are good strategies.
And it's always good when we all win.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's go to our prop bets.
Let's
When you're betting, you're not betting on an outcome of the game. You're betting on something happening. Could be player, could be first half points, could be whatever. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go against Kansas City. I'm riding the Denver train this week. And I'm taking Mahomes having over 0.5 interceptions. He is, I don't have anything to attribute all of my interceptions to. There's not one thing. Yeah, dude, there might be one thing. And it might be you. It might be them really, getting – everybody's kind of catching up. We talked about this earlier, how people are catching up to you, but you have 11 interceptions. Like, there's a reason for that. And if I can get that at plus money, I'm going to go ahead and take my chance that he's going to throw a pick. And once again, when it's over a half, all you're hoping for is one pick. It may not decide the outcome of the game. Kansas City could still blow them out. I don't think they're going to, but they could, and he could still have a pick. And a pick could be, went through Tyreek Hill's hands and it fell into a defender's hand. It doesn't have to be a perfect, somebody made a great play on it. It could be a lineman batted it and it fell right into his hand. There's weird ways you can get a pick. So if all you need is one, that's pretty easy to get.
Yeah, or it could be that one that the Hail Mary at the end of the half. That's still an interception. It doesn't affect the game if it's not completed. So, yeah, I really like that. I'm not impressed with how Mahomes has played this year. I'm not going to say there's something wrong with him. I think that the teams are better strategizing against the Chiefs, and they're trying to overcome the different schemes that are being thrown at him. And it took him a while to get going. I think we were talking before we hit record. It's like I don't think people would be surprised that the Chiefs were leading the division at this point. I think the surprise is how they've been doing it.
Yeah.
Just like in the last week or two, getting to first place. I think a lot of people would have thought this team would have been 10-2 at this point.
Correct.
So
I agree.
This is solid. I stayed in the AFC West as well. I'm taking this is a homer pick again. I'm taking Derek Carr to have at least 309 passing yards. That $22 will win $28. The Raiders are 6-0 this year when Derek Carr throws for over 300 yards, and they're 0-5 when he doesn't. And so I'm basically what I'm doing, Kaus, is I'm coupling this with my straight pick because I'm saying that the Raiders are going to win. And just based on past performances, he has to throw the ball for them to win. And so they're two separate bets, right? I can hit one or I can hit the other, but they're kind of tied together based on the formula for the team's success this year.
I agree. And the good thing, like going for both of our prop bets is divisional, divisional versus non-divisional. KC is playing Denver. That's a divisional game. We all know divisional games are tougher. So that makes it even more of a, hey, you're going to get an interception. Denver's playing Washington. Las Vegas is playing Washington. I meant Derek Carr is playing Washington. So it's not a divisional game. There's not as much pressure. I mean, they still got to win. They still got to stay in the division. I'm not saying that. We all know that divisional games are different. So it's a lot easier, quote unquote, to get that win, to get those 300 yards against a non-divisional opponent.
For sure.
All right, last bet we're going to do is a pleaser. And now, just like the teasers, we made it more in our favor. A pleaser, we make it less in our favor. But because of that, our money is way more in our favor.
Yes.
So I am staying on that Denver train. I'm taking Denver +4 because I think they win outright. So why not please it and throw it and make me some money? And then I'm pleasing the Minnesota-Detroit under. We've talked about this many times now. It beat the last 16 matchups between these two. The under is 11-5, and it's 5-2 in Detroit. So I'm going to take. I think 52 points is too much. They're both, but like we said, both teams like to keep it close, and that's low scoring. The only thing that I am worried about with this is that both the running backs are out. So that is going to be more passing, and usually more passing is more points, but I don't see that with Jared Goff having more points. So my 20's gonna win me 120, and I'm go home with a nice smile on my face.
More passing for Jared Goff is more picks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is great. I love how sometimes like we get on a and you and I have probably done this before. We get a week and we just like Raiders on all our bets, or Denver. But if we feel that strongly about it, why not put our money where our mouth is, right?
Correct.
And let's do it. So I really like that. And this is the pleaser is a low risk, high reward scenario. So I love the 20 to win 120 here. I think it's great.
Correct.
Me
too.
And I hope you're right. I hope Denver just beats the snot out of them. I really do.
I know. I knew you'd be happy with their picks this week.
I went with the Jets +1 and the Chargers -3. I think the Jets win this game outright. And the Jets hit the pleaser last week too. So they're looking to continue the trend. And the Chargers -3. I do think they win this game. I think it's very close. This is going to be a great game to watch, but I picked these two games in particular because it doesn't take the spread and it's not the Chargers winning by 3. I don't think anybody would be surprised if that happens, right?
Correct.
I didn't take a big favorite. Like if I took the Rams on the pleaser at -13, now they have to win by 19. So I didn't do something like that. Yeah. I took something that I think is going to be a little bit more manageable. And I took a couple of teams that I actually think are going to win. So we'll see how this rolls out. Pleasers are tougher because your plus points often go into minus points. So your team, your underdog does have to win. But, I think we got 2 underdogs here that have a really good chance of pulling it off this week.
Yeah, especially if the stash plays. I agree with you on the Jets. Like I can't agree or disagree with you on the Chargers game. It's just too.
That's going to be fun, man.
It's going to be a great game. I cannot wait to watch that game.
Usually I hate watch the Chargers because I hate the Chargers, but I'm really, really want to watch this game just because I want to see them go tit for tat, right? I want to see Herbert and Burrow and how I think we have the beginnings of 2 really good football teams for a really long time.
Yeah, and yeah, I want Herbert to win me my bet of comeback player of the year that I bet.
Heck yeah, why not?
All right, our final last thing we do is not a bet. You can bet on it, but we just like to throw it out there for fun. I did it 1 week, and we've been doing it ever since, and we have a little fun with this. So we say who is in our final 4, and Tony, I asked you change it up from where we started because I forgot to change it, and I just did it right now.
I think I got
it. But I am going to start with my final 4, and I'm going to homer this, and I'm going to take Tennessee Buffalo in the AFC, and then I'm going to take Arizona Green Bay in the NFC. Now, Tennessee got smoked last week. I still think they're the team to beat. I really do. You can have that letdown game. We talked about that last week, how that could be a letdown game, and they did. Buffalo, I'm putting in there assuming they beat New England. If they beat New England this week, that's why they're in there. If they lose, they shouldn't be in there. But if they beat New England this week, they're going to be leading the division. They're going to have a good lead. And New England's a good team right now. They really are. If they beat New England, they have a reason to be there. I didn't put Indy. I was toying with Indy just because of who they've played, but I can't do it at 6-6. I just can't pull myself to put them in there. And then on the NFC side, I think, like we said, Kyler Murray's going to come back rusty, but he's going to come back, and once he gets going in game time, he's going to be great, and I think that he's going to take them to the Final Four, and then I'm not going against – and especially they got a bye this week, so I can't change Green Bay, and they're the reigning MVP. The only one that could possibly be in there is TB12, but he's having one of his worst years interception-wise. It's hard for me to trust him, so that's my Final Four.
This is solid, and you're going to see that our Final Fours are almost identical. I have 3 of the 4. Can you pick the one that I might not have? And this is
Um,
tough because I've had one team in there for the entire year that I
yeah,
just took out.
I would say you've had Tampa Bay in there
I have.
the whole time. And you don't like Baltimore, so I
I
can't say you're going to
don't.
put Baltimore in there.
I do not like Baltimore at all.
We've all been back and forth on I put Dallas in, maybe. I don't know.
Well, here's what I did. I've got Arizona, Green Bay in the NFC, and I put New England and Buffalo in the AFC. I think there are a few games every year that, as the season evolves, you get to this point in the year, and they're just like you have to. They're must watch.
Mhm.
Monday night is a must watch.
I agree.
It is. I would cancel all my plans to watch that game.
Yeah.
That game this week and the Charger game, I think, are going to be very, very good. So I've got New England and Buffalo in the AFC because I think they are the way that those teams have played. I took Tennessee out because New England beat them.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm smoke and mirrors Ravens. No, the Ravens could be in my opinion, the worst one seed in the history of the NFL right now.
Well, that's
So
what Pittsburgh was the worst 11-0 team last year. So
100% they were. I remember that. And then I took Tampa Bay out this week and put Green Bay in. Tampa Bay has 3 wins against teams with winning records.
Mhm.
So do the Jets. And so it's like no,
that's a little bit of extreme comparing them to the Jets, but I see where you're going with that.
Actually, I take it back. The Jets have 2 wins. So I should say entering last week,
Gotcha.
Tampa Bay had 2 wins against winning teams, and so did the Jets. So, but for the same reasons you said, the Tampa Bay's, I can't. I'm looking at Green Bay right now and how they're putting it all together, and yeah, they had that crap fest against Kansas City, but I just think that they're at this point right now. I think they're better.
Yeah, I agree, and here's the only reason I thought about putting New England there with Buffalo. I really did. I don't think the rookie quarterback can get them that far. That's why I didn't put New England this far. I did think about it. I go, okay, I could do that. A rookie quarterback doing that, I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it can. It's been done. It can be done. I like Mac Jones. I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he wasn't in our division, but I just don't think he's there. I don't.
And it's hard. And you know what's hard, man, is it's hard because of who his coach is. That's what's hard, and they started 1-3 and everybody's like, they're horrible. Screw them. And look at them now. I mean, they're in first place.
Yeah. I will tell you a spoiler next week. If Buffalo wins and Cincinnati wins, it's going to be Buffalo Cincy for me. I'm telling you that right now. I don't care what Tennessee does. It's Buffalo Cincy. Tell you that right now.
Well, and you know what? If they're playing the best, they deserve to be there.
I agree.
Bottom
All right,
line.
that concludes
week 13. I got you. Week 13 of the BSB podcast for this week. We hope that you have learned something today. We talked a little bit more about our strategies, especially on the teasers. That was really good piece of information that Cal laid out for us with respect to what happens with your money when you take a favorite on a teaser versus when you take an underdog on a teaser. So that was really, really good and really insightful. So I appreciate that, Cal. So I'm going to file that in the back of my mind for next week.
Yeah, I trying to give us everything, but make sure, guys, like we said at the beginning, feel free to hit us up, Facebook, Twitter, text, email, all that stuff. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube or whatever you're listening to us, however you're doing it. Make sure you subscribe. And we thank you for watching and listening, and we appreciate all of you guys contributing. So have a great week. Take Vegas down. BS, I love you.
Love you, brother.
Have a good week, guys.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.